My name is Ming his face. Well, everything has a beginning. He replied. You could start by inviting me in for coffee. We'll discuss the rest in your bedroom. His boldness left me stunned, a mix of discomfort and curiosity settling in, despite the growing temptation to entertain his audacity. I didn't invite him in. Thank you, I said, trying to dismiss the situation, but before I could close the door, he spoke again. Mary, he said, his voice laced with challenge, when was the last time you had an adventure? He took a slow sip of his coffee, eyes never leaving mine if you can't answer. Then that's the problem, I tried to brush him off, but Slaughter wasn't one to be easily dismissed. He wasn't one to take no for an answer, and soon he found more ways to challenge me one day while wandering through my garden. He caught me off guard again, Mary. He asked himself, maybe that's what I can help you with. Let me show you. His audacity stirred something inside me, a mix of anger and intrigue. His words were bold and for reasons I couldn't quite explain. They unsettled me. The following day, he appeared at my porch again. This time, he claimed he needed advice about his new house, but I knew better. The conversation quickly veered toward familiar ground. Mary. He began, leaning closer across the table, his eyes scanning mine with unsettling clarity. I see it in your eyes. There's still that fire, that passion of youth, but you locked it away so tightly that you've forgotten where you hid the key. His words struck me deeply, a cocktail of embarrassment and irritation rising in my chest with a forced bravado. I responded, Slaughter, does this persistent act usually get you anywhere? His smile was knowing, almost as though he'd been waiting for me to ask. It's not persistence, Mary? He said softly, his tone shifting to something deeper. Actions. We walked for hours through the rain, each step a release as our clothes became drenched, clinging to us with every drop I was wearing. A white shirt, and by the time we had walked for a while, it had become see-through, revealing more of me than I'd ever intended. But in that moment, I didn't care. There was something in Slaughter's eyes, a wildness, a fire that I couldn't look away from. He was so intense, his presence consuming, and his words held a power that rattled me to the core. Mary, he said suddenly, his voice a low growl. A woman like you doesn't deserve a normal life. You carry volcanoes in your heart, and I want to watch them erupt. The words pierced me, breaking down the walls I had so carefully built around myself for years. I had always been so guarded, so cautious, but in his presence, all of that crumbled away. Our closeness was instant, as if the rain had washed away any remaining distance between us. I shivered from the cold, my skin prickling, but when his hands touched me, the warmth they radiated was unlike anything I had ever felt before. The gentle, yet insistent way his fingertips traced along my skin sent a jolt of heat through me, a heat that burned in places I thought had long been dormant. His touch was a reminder of a part of myself I had forgotten, a part that had been buried deep inside, afraid to resurface. When our eyes locked, I saw something in his gaze, something that pulled me in. There was both challenge and desire there, a longing that was almost tangible, as if he was daring me to let go, and in that moment time seemed to slow down. Slaughter's hands moved from my shoulders to my waist with such ease that it felt as though we had always been connected. My breath caught in my throat as this, refusing to let go despite the sharp thorns that pressed against my back. What I felt in that moment was something I had longed for, a longing that had lived within me for years. It wasn't just passion I experienced that night. It was something deeper. For the first time, I understood what freedom truly meant. What Slaughter offered me wasn't just a relationship. It was a profound opportunity to rediscover who I was, to shed the layers of doubt and uncertainty I had carried for so long. Every touch, every word reshaped me, rewrote the way I saw myself. The time I spent with him pushed me further than I ever thought I could go, and I realized this was just the beginning of something much more significant. After that night, our connection transformed into something almost like a marriage, but with an intensity that transcended anything I had ever known. Slaughter made me feel as if I were forever youthful, always fresh, as if I were a 20-year-old woman, again full of energy and potential. He treated me with such care and attention, whether we were in public, at home, in the kitchen, lounging in the living room, or most profoundly in bed. Each touch, each word continued to redefine me, breaking down walls I didn't even know I had. Every moment with him stretched my limits, took me to places I hadn't imagined, and I thought to myself, this was only the start. I believed that we were destined for wild, unforgettable days ahead, struggling to walk in the days that followed. One evening after coming home early from work, I found something that shook me to my core. A young woman in my house, she was wearing my clothes, and to make matters worse, she was with Slaughter. The sight of them together was like a slap in the face and a flash of fury. I stormed into the house, unable to contain my anger, and we erupted into a heated confrontation, both of us yelling at each other in an ugly exchange. At one point, Slaughter, unable to hold back any longer, shouted something that struck me deeply. "Do you even care about me? You're still thinking about your ex-husband. You still miss him. So I take my revenge like this." It was then that I realized just how much my past had affected him. I hadn't truly understood the weight of it until he spoke those words the night. We didn't just argue, we finally confronted the emotions that had been simmering beneath the surface. I felt the intensity build between us again, almost like a volcano erupting with the same force as it did on the very first night. From that moment on, things began to shift. There was an undeniable transparency in our relationship, but there was one change that stood above all the rest. I admitted to him that despite everything, I seemed to enjoy what he was giving me, his presence, his intensity, and everything that came with it. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Before we say goodbye, if you have not yet subscribed, I invite you to press the subscribe button. Your support, even if it seems like a small gesture, means a lot to us and drives us to continue creating content with heart. Don't forget to give it a like if you liked what we shared today, as every interaction helps us grow and allows us to continue connecting with you through stories that matter. Thank you for being part of this community.